All right. Just had my annual evaluation today and had a discussion about my career and which way I was heading. So I decided to ask them to reduce my hours. Yeah. They actually evaluated me and gave me a very good evaluation, gave me a raise. So an opportunity to make a lot more money. Well, not a lot more money, but more money than previously. But I actually asked them to cut my hours by 25%. And the reason for that is having to do with living life and not feeling like that you're working to live. You know, I mean that you're living to work, but you're working so you can live. And that means that, yeah, I had it backwards. Not that you're living to work, which means you have to live just to work. I mean, that's your whole purpose in life. But my purpose isn't that. My purpose is that work should be so that I can live. And if you guys have been following me, you know what's been happening. You know, I got the house. I don't owe a mortgage on it or anything like that. My cost of living is very low, and it's manageable. So I only need to make enough money to do what I want to do. I think that's one of the big pushes for people wanting to live in a van or to go into tiny house living, is so that they basically aren't just working to pay for stuff. So I asked, and they've approved. I mean, at first it was hard because I still wanted full-time status, even though I wasn't going to work full-time. So that was on the negotiation table. You know, I said, look, I'd like to work 30 hours, you know, whatever the minimum is that you can let me work to still be considered full-time, so I can retain the benefits, the medical benefits, dental, everything else. But I don't want to work full-time anymore, because I could work full-time. See, they had one of the other guys, one of the other janitors, clean room techs, left, and I had to do his stuff too. So, you know, he just came back, and when he was gone, I had to do the additional work, which was about 2 more hours of additional work. So I was like busting my butt. I think I mentioned it to you guys. And now that he's back, I'm like, you know what? That's 2 hours less. So I can cut that out. And the way I would manage to do it when he was gone was I ran. You know, I pretty much was working nonstop, making me exhausted every day. And then I had to go work on the house afterwards. So now I'm like, well, if they can cut me down to about 6 hours a day, you know, maybe 8 if I need to. If I need to stay late, I can stay 8 or 10 hours if I need to. But really, I want to try to keep it at about 6 hours a day, maybe 7 on certain days. That would allow me to get out of work earlier. Then I can go to my VA appointments, because the VA likes to schedule stuff at about 1 p.m. or something like that. You know, they don't like scheduling it late. They close, or, you know, they close by 4 or 5 o'clock. So it would allow me to get my doctor's appointment and everything else scheduled, and I'd have to take any time off from work. But not only that, it also frees me up for actually making more money. So I'll be able to possibly start my software development, as well as some of the side hustles. And the reason that's kind of important, I even told it to them, was, you know, I wasn't really planning on working right now. I was supposed to be in Thailand riding on an elephant right now. The whole COVID thing kind of threw everything out of whack. I even got a house. I wasn't planning on getting a house, and I have a house now. Because of COVID, and because the situation is the way it is, I've adjusted my retirement plan to retire in the United States instead of in Thailand, even though I still want to travel to Thailand and around the world. Now, the only real way I can do that, because I don't have a huge retirement pension or whatever, you know, I do have retirement from the state of Florida, but, you know, it had gotten cut short because my career was cut short. But I need to generate income like a lot of van dwellers do while they're on the road. So I want to take advantage of this time with them cutting my work hours at my request to create a business, that will make a side hustle, basically, that will make money while I'm traveling. That way, I'll be retired, but still able to travel and do everything I want to do. I don't need as much money when I'm retired. I won't have to spend money to go to work. That's one thing. But the other thing was this. When I was in the military, when I was in the Air Force as a public affairs specialist, I was a newspaper editor. They overworked me, and that's what caused the situation that has the VA jumping in saying the military messed me up. I was working about between 80 to 120 hours a week. Yeah, that's correct. 80 to 120 hours a week. Some days I was only getting 2 or 3 hours of sleep, and then I was going back to work. It's because I was a base newspaper editor, and they only had 2 of us working on the paper. There was supposed to be a staff of 7 people, and they had me and another airman. And then on top of that, they would pull, because we were the lowest ranking ones there, for duties, flag duty, all sorts of other duties that they assign low-level airmen to. They would pull my worker, my writer, and then it would just be me. So I was working basically upwards of 20 or 22 hours a day, literally. And I would fall asleep in the office. I would eat lunch at my desk. I would go grab lunch from the cafeteria and head back there. And all that stuff going on caused me to have a breakdown. I actually broke down in the military. And, all that stuff ended up with me, them basically telling me maybe I should get out when they saw what had happened to me. Because I was like a top-notch airman. I was like Airman of the Year. I was put up for Airman of the Year and all that. But I didn't really go for it. But, they wanted to promote me below the zone, all this other stuff, which I didn't really turn down, but I spoke my mind. I don't lie, and I didn't like that. So, I'm not afraid to tell somebody, even an employer, the truth, even if they don't like it, which is kind of bad if you want to move up. But it has to do with your own integrity and your own ability to accept your word and to live according to your ideals. So what happened in the military was I had a breakdown. They pretty much did an audit on the job and said I was doing the work of 5 people. They said I was doing the work of 5 people in that office. And so they started assigning other people stuff, and my job became a breeze almost. But after 3 years of working like that, I was still having a hard time not working like that. So I would sneak in, and I had such a good new boss, the captain who came in, Captain McGee. Still remember him forever. He actually drove from his house to the base to catch me back in the office working at night. And then he made a direct order to me and said, Airman, I'm ordering you right now not to come back into work after you leave. You are not to come back into this office. And if you disobey that order, you get court-martialed. That's what it took to break that cycle of them making me work so hard that I lost it. I had a mental breakdown. And public affairs, it seems like it'd be an easy job and a fun job, but it's kind of stressful. But ever since that incident in the military, I've had issues with that. And, it has affected my whole career as a teacher all the way through till now that you still see some of it. I refuse to work certain jobs, and I will quit on a whim. Not so much because it was a whim, but because it goes against me having to deal with certain situations. Like you saw me quit that Walmart job. Okay. And this job, I told them I love it, which I do. It's probably one of the best jobs I've ever had as a janitor. And, I made sure they knew that, even though normally when you go to negotiate, you try to, make it so they want you and are afraid of you leaving. I don't play that game. I'm very upfront with them. I said I love it. I love the job and stuff. I love how they treat me. I love how, I love everything about the job. It's like getting paid to work out all day. So it's a physically demanding job, but it's low stress in the sense that I have my route of what I do, so I know what I do each day. It's consistent, pretty much, except for like little weird stuff, like maybe an overflowing toilet or something. But it's not stressful, compared to my job as a newspaper editor and public affairs specialist or as a teacher. That was very stressful. So this job is one of the least stressful jobs, and they treat me with a lot of dignity and respect, even though I'm a janitor. So, I asked them. They said that they would have to look into it and go all the way up to the president of the company, to talk to him, because it's not normal, but they wanted to keep me. So they went ahead and they're going to go ahead and grant it. They haven't, set the date yet when I start back down, but it'll actually open me up for possibly more YouTube videos or other stuff that I'm going to develop, as well as software development and several other things. The main thing I'm trying to do is set up income that has residuals, that keeps earning money long after you make it, like my software sales, as well as other hustles. Not stuff where I have to constantly physically do it, because most of the time I'm planning on riding on elephants, I'm planning on climbing mountains, I'm planning on not having to deal with physically working, but just monitoring it online, on the internet or whatever, or maybe not even having to monitor it at all, but just income that comes in while I'm traveling and doing things. And I guess the takeaway from all this is that, you should realize that a job isn't your life. A job is supposed to be so that you make adequate income to live the life that you want to live. And if you can set yourself up, in such a way that you don't need much, then your job requirement, you don't have to pick a job that's stressful. You don't have to pick a job that sucks. You can pick a job that you actually love, that you actually enjoy, like I do right now. I love the people that are there. I love the job. It's easy. It's it's easy. It's not stressful, and it's something that when I leave work, I don't think about it. I went through my cleaning, all those places I'm supposed to go. I did everything I'm supposed to do. I don't have to worry about it. So, that is my big thing. And if, once they start that new schedule, I'm going to be so much happier, because, I'm super happy right now. And if they wanted me to keep working 40 hours a week, I would still work, but, I don't really want to work 40 hours. Well, right now I was working more than 40 hours. So it's 40, sometimes more than 40. I'd like to get it to 30, between 30 to 35 hours. Now, that'll be a pay cut, even though they gave me a pay raise. What the company did to show me, if they're a good company, is a couple months back, they had pulled me aside and gave me a raise that was not a pay raise, but they called it a COVID adjustment raise. Because COVID drove the price of everything up. Everything is crazy high now, gasoline and everything else. So companies that want to keep their employees, they have to do that, because if you don't do that, another company will come and just take your employee right out of your nose, right out from under you, because people need to make more money just to continue even living the same level of lifestyle. So the company had given me a raise to match, what they considered the COVID inflation, if you want to call it that. But then now the annual review, they gave me merit raise, saying that I deserved it. So it could have been an opportunity to earn quite a bit more money than I was last year, but honestly, I don't need it. It's a good position to be in when work is no longer something you must do just so you can stay alive, but something you do to enhance your life, a little extra, and to save up some money for your travels. And some people say, well, couldn't you just work that job at those increased hours and save more money? I could, but then I'm giving up an opportunity right now to try to develop another business that will make money after I quit this job. Now, they know I'm eventually going to quit, you know. But now I'm looking longer range. I'm looking at, when waiting for the whole COVID thing to stop. Well, not stop, but be manageable, become like regular, where people can travel internationally and stuff again and not have to worry about it. So that's what the situation is. And I think it goes all the way back to my military days where they overworked me and I actually cracked. I cracked under pressure. And since that time, I've tried not to put myself in stressful situations where I would crack. And even as a teacher, I remember I refused, if you guys know teachers, if you know any teachers at all, a lot of teachers work a lot of overtime without pay. And then they even deal with the students after school's out without pay. So teachers do that, and then they take papers home to grade. I seldom did that as a teacher. That was a rule I had. And I remember the first year I taught, every night I had a stack of papers to grade. I was like, this is bullshit. You go in early before the kids are there. You prep the lessons and stuff. Then after you give it all out, at the end of the day, you got this big stack of paperwork to grade. That doesn't even include all the report cards and stuff because they mixed, special needs children with regular children now. You got to do IEPs and other stuff like that. So there's a lot of additional time. And the first year, I remember every night, I was like putting in an extra 2 or 3 hours or 4 hours after school was out working. I was like, this is bullshit. So it was giving me flashback of my military days. And I was like, I'm not going to fall into that trap again. So I decided to change the way work was done, in that I started making the lessons so that the kids could grade themselves in class. They would grade each other's papers, and I built it into the work day so that I went home every night without any papers to grade. And then IEPs and stuff, I started building in time. Thank goodness for Reading Rainbow. Is it LeVar on Reading Rainbow? So when Reading Rainbow came on, that's when I would do report cards and things like that, the grade and other stuff that I had to do that I didn't want to take home. So I did occasionally have to take stuff home, and I would still meet the children after school with their parents and stuff like that, and sometimes do home visits. But for the most part, I didn't have any overtime at school, other than on the weekends where teachers came in to do like fair festival and things like that, Oktoberfest and things. But I remember there was a new teacher. There was a brand new teacher, and she was crying. I was going home one day, and I heard her crying in her room. I would say female teachers are a lot more emotional than I think, and not just teachers. I think females in general tend to be more emotional than men. But she was literally crying, and she was a special ed teacher, I think. But she was sitting there. I mean, she was crying, and then I went to talk to her. I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "I'm overwhelmed. I've been like here for this." That was her first year there, and she's like, we were like halfway through the school year, and she's like, every night I take all this stuff home, and I work for another 6 or 7 hours going over all this paperwork, and it's still not done. And it just keeps getting bigger. The pile gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then she says, "What am I doing wrong?" And I looked at her and I said, "What you're doing wrong is you're continuing to take this crap home and you're continuing to work on it without talking to the principal. If you want, I'll go with you to talk to the principal. But you need to tell her the situation." The way I explain things to people is this. Imagine that you're a glass, okay? You're a glass that can hold a certain amount of water. And when they pour that water in, The maximum that they can pour in before stuff starts spilling all over the place and becoming a big fat mess is the top of the glass. Now, if they continue to fill shit into that glass and it's already full, it's going to start spilling everywhere. So don't come, and I tell them, look, I'm like that glass. If you keep pouring more into me than I can handle, don't be surprised that you have a flood on the floor. Don't come to me and say, Denoy, what's wrong? I'm telling you right now, my glass will only hold this much, so don't keep pouring stuff in. And if you keep pouring stuff in, it's going to spill. And if it spills, don't come to me. I told you right now, it's going to spill. So I told her to go tell the principal that, that the paperwork and whatever was too much. What can she do? She needs help, because she couldn't handle it. It was too much. It was overwhelming. And, she did. She went to talk to the principal, and the principal made some arrangements and stuff so she didn't have to do so much paperwork. Because I told her, look, my advice to you is this. Once your cup hits that full mark, go home. He said, but what about all this leftover stuff? And I said, look, you've been taking it home for half the year now, working 5 hours overtime without pay, basically, and you come back and it's still not done. What good did you really accomplish? You wasted 5 hours of your time and there's still shit all over the place. It's still not done. So my advice is, let it go, let it go. You need to just not worry about it, but tell the principal and then make arrangements with her, because you can't keep it up. So that's the advice I'm following for myself right now. I can continue to work, I can work full time. I know some people work 2 or 3 jobs, which to me, I'm like, unless you really enjoy working 2 or 3 jobs, you might want to reassess why you're working 2 or 3 jobs. Because you work 2 or 3 jobs and then you get sick and die, well, what's the whole point, If you can adjust your life so that whatever job you're working, like if you're working 3 jobs and they're all shitty jobs, maybe you should look for a better job. Maybe you should try to get one job that pays better than the 3 bad jobs. Work smarter, not harder. The job I'm in is one of the best ones I've been at. Not so much pay-wise. I mean, it's pretty good pay for what I do. But just because I enjoy the people and I enjoy the work, and when I saw this rocket goes up, I feel like I'm actually part of the group that's trying to put people on the moon and on Mars. And I feel like, wow, how blessed, how lucky am I to be working with these people? To actually, your phone with the GPS and stuff. I know those people. I know the people who make that possible. Or the information we're getting from Lucy spacecraft going towards the sun, or the solar project going towards the sun. But Lucy going out to look at the asteroid out there, to learn about the origins of life. I was actually blessed enough that I got to work with these people. Look at my history growing up, being born in Thailand in a little tiny village. And here I am in the United States working with space people. So for me, I feel blessed. And I feel blessed that they were willing to honor my request, which to me is really good. And anybody's thinking of doing this, this is the time, there's an employee shortage. At least the employers keep saying that. But you can just look. If you start looking around, you'll see all sorts of offers for positions that may be similar or the same as what you're doing, but they offer to pay better or have better hours, work-life arrangements. Talk to your boss, talk to your employer about it. Because if they want to keep you, they should work hard to keep you. It's not one-sided anymore, which is good. That's the one good thing that happened with COVID. The employees have more voice. So take advantage of this time right now to prioritize your life and put yourself in a job that you actually like doing. and only work as much as you really need to or want to. You know, you shouldn't be working because you have to. That is a terrible life. It's a life of servitude. Of they've got you, and if they've got you right now, this is the time to look to break that chain, because there are opportunities right now with new employers looking for people, and they're kind of going out of their way to make sure that the employees, the good employees, work for them. Anyhow, I am going to go ahead and sign out. Hello, Michael. Is it Michaela? From Germany. Here it says, work to live, not live to work. Yeah, that is true. Hello, George. And Mo Bang. Mo Bang's like retired. I don't know if you know this. Mo Bang is retired but still working, but this time he's working for you. He's working for the van dwellers. Yeah. You know, so that to me is like the ultimate work that you can do, is where you're working just because you want to, and you're not even doing it so much for yourself. Other than, I guess when you do stuff for others, you are kind of doing it for yourself, in the sense that there is a certain reward in helping other people. And I know some people may have a hard time understanding that, but when you do things for others, there's a reward that comes to you that's immeasurable. And that's why certain people do it. But at the same time, you have to be at the point where you can actually do that. So, you know, I'm grateful that Mo Bang decided to join the van dwelling community, because I know he's been working on a lot of projects and things that actually help people, and he's actually trying to teach people how to do things and sharing his ideas. And he's got some really good ideas for, you know, van modifications and things like that. And watching him through his journey, you can kind of see him develop, and the skill sets that he's picking up. He's picking up very fast. So, you know, if you're looking at van dwelling and stuff, check out his channel. You know, he's actually, you see him where he just started out with virtually no experience as a van dweller, to now he's actually becoming very proficient with it, and it's starting to become like an expert almost, you know, in the sense that he's got a lot more experience now. Idoji, good to see you on here, and thank you for running my playlist, man. Hey, Aaron says, anyone with a tech background has a huge leg up nowadays. Yeah, that's the other thing. You know, I could actually, I mean, if I really wanted to, I could quit my job as a janitor and try to get into software development. That would make a lot more money, you know. But the problem I have with software development, commercial software development for other people, is stress. I have worked as a software developer before. There's always deadlines, and there's issues and stuff that come up with software development, and it's stressful. Now, I am going to continue doing software and stuff, but at my pace, for me, you know, self-marketing and things like that. So I won't become like the super mega rich people, you know, or unless I have a hit product that I actually manage to produce and release. But I won't be like comfortable as a programmer working for a company that, you know, makes good money or works for the government or something. But at the same time, I don't have to deal with the stress, you know. I mean, I do have to deal with stress in the sense that if I do software development, I'm still going to stress out over it, certain things. But it's not the same as when there's a boss yelling at you. You know, there's a deadline of a certain thing. When you're the one in charge, you can kind of control the stress to a certain a certain degree. So for me, software is still kind of a hobby-ish type stuff. And, you know, working this job right now as a janitor, it's consistent pay. I know what I'm going to get paid. I know when I'm going to get paid. And I know it's enough to cover my living expenses and enough for me to plan for my eventual retirement, even though I was supposed to already be retired. But had I could quit right now and retire, and I can do it, but it wouldn't be pretty, you know. And taking advantage of the COVID situation, um, I have an opportunity right now to actually, when I do finally retire officially again, I'll actually be in a much better financial situation so that my retirement will not be where I have to skimp on everything. You know, I still don't plan on going crazy on money and stuff, but it'll be nice to be able to travel and have money to spend and not, you know, have to count pennies. Idoji, have you seen storybook games? They are a little too simple for my blood, but there's a market for them. I don't know what you mean by storybook games, other than like maybe pick a path where you kind of have a story and you pick where you go next. I don't know. I've never heard of them. But one of the problems with game development now is this, you know, pretty much a lot of new games are the big ones. They're developed by mega corporations. I don't know if you guys are aware, like I think Microsoft just bought out Blizzard. Yeah, Microsoft bought out Blizzard. And Blizzard was a huge company. So it's big, huge corporations that are owning everything, and they have a lot of money to devote to their software, you know. And one of the problems I have with a lot of games is they're all essentially the same game. You know, it's just different graphics. And they require like literally hundreds or thousands of people to work on. Me, I'm just a small independent studio, if you want to call it that. It's right now, it's just me. I've lost my artists. I've lost my musicians. So it's just me having to do everything myself. I may try to assemble another crew if we decide to do some games. Or I might just say, you know, but assembling a crew means more delays because I got to train them and stuff. You know, if I just go simple, I can make my own game, but it's going to be hard to come up with something that's a major hit, you know, when you're designing it by yourself, unless you're just super, super talented. But the question says, how much do you need to make? For me, if I spend, you know, to break it down, if I spend 1 year programming a game and it earns over its lifetime $100,000, that's not bad for 1 year worth of work, you know. So for me, if I write a game or a program and I make $100,000 on it and it took me a year to develop, that's not bad. That's actually pretty good. If I make 10 or 20,000 on it, it's not really worth it because I could work, you know, somewhere. I can work at Walmart and make more than that. And you know, so that's the stuff you got to kind of weigh. And one of the problems you have with games, especially for phones, like apps and stuff like that, competition is so overwhelmed. There's so many people writing apps, and a lot of it is trash. It's junk. So when you try to release your stuff, it gets buried and lost, and people don't even know about it. Generally, apps that are, you know, known, they have huge companies sponsoring them and building them and releasing them. Although occasionally you get the small company that, you know, studio or whatever that becomes known for their app and then become bigger, you know. So occasionally you do get a breakaway where you can do that, but I haven't really developed for phones. I don't really think I want. Originally, when, you know, smartphones were new, I wanted to. I'm even listed as a Google developer, you know. I'm on their network. I have an account, but I don't really develop. I don't use it. I haven't done it. I'm actually thinking of doing retro games, which won't even make that much. But let's say I decide to write a game for a VIC-20. Okay, and you're like, well, you're not going to get much market for that. Yeah, but see, if I write the game and it takes me on a VIC-20, you know, if I decide to write a simple game on the VIC-20, and I'm able to get people to finance it, and I can make $20,000 on it, then I'm willing to spend 1 month writing it. And you're like, what? You expect to make $20,000 in 1 month? Yeah, that's what I expect to make. You know, otherwise it's not really worth it. Not really worth it for me. So if I write a game on the VIC-20, it's a lot simpler because the graphics are simpler. Even the music, you know, there's only tone generators. it would be a lot easier to write. And 20,000, that means, let's say the game, if people donate $20 each, okay, then what do I need? What, just 10,000? No, I only need like 1,000 people. I only need 1,000 customers giving me $20. That's doable. So, if I write a game, if I can finance it, make sure there's enough interest in it, and I know it's going to take me 1 month on something like a Vic 20, it's worth $20,000 for me to write it in 1 month, And now, the other thing is, the new games, they tend to be like pay as you go, and they keep, you have to buy stuff, components and things like that. That's how they make their money now. It's a different strategy than when I was a kid, or when I wrote games and stuff previously. I'm not sure I want to join that. I don't really like games where you have to pay to win. You pretty much have to pay to upgrade, and that's the new trend. I'm like, wow, these young people, they don't understand. But I guess maybe they do. It's a crazy world we live in, where a TikTok person can make millions of dollars, and then they don't even have to do anything good. They just have to do something stupid, so it goes viral. It's a topsy-turvy, upside-down world, because stupid stuff makes a lot of money. The dumber and the more outlandish, the more like they videos, some of the TikTok have people going up to girls asking them about their sex life, and then they talk about it, and the video goes viral. I'm like, what the? This is... I have no words, okay? I just can't believe that kind of video makes all the money that it does. And that person who comes up with something, I don't even know what the word for it is, but to me, it's disgusting in a way. I mean, you shouldn't be like posting that stuff everywhere. And like the young girls, whatever, don't seem to have any respect for themselves. And the young men or whatever asking those questions, they don't have respect for themselves or the women. All anybody has respect for is making a video go viral. To the point where on some videos, or including YouTube and stuff, the people get themselves killed trying to make those videos to go viral. I'm just like, what has happened to society? But that aside, because I can't do anything about those people, and I definitely don't want to join those people, so I'm going to continue doing my own thing, which means probably writing games that either I sell, or I might go through, I think they have services now where people pay in advance to have something developed. So maybe advertise it, talk about it, and then see if there's enough people who are willing to pay for the campaign to write the game. And then if I hit my threshold of a certain number of payments, that people are going to pay, promises to pay, then I will go ahead and develop it. Because for me, it has to be, I have to earn a certain amount of money to make it worth my time to actually devote the energy and effort to producing it. I know some of you might think 20,000 for a month's worth of work is like crazy, but really, programmers, a good programmer is worth their weight in gold, maybe even worth their weight in Bitcoin. So I wouldn't say I'm a super good programmer, but I think I'm decent, and I know when I was working for companies, they were making millions off the stuff I was writing, so I'm pretty sure if I write for myself, I can do okay. (1854) Shadow says, software for seniors. No hurry, because you can't remember what you started out to do in the first place. It's funny. Hello, Inspirational Nomad. Yeah, Idoji says they are basically point-and-click games that are really books. Yeah, they're pretty much like the Pick-a-Path adventures. In the old days when I was a kid, you would read this book, and then at the end of each section, it would say, what do you choose to do? If you choose to hit the orc, go to page 54. If you choose to run away, go to page 87. And then jump around like that. Those would be really easy to write. And, maybe do that for stories. The other thing I thought of doing just for the heck of it or fun would be a game about living in a van with Denoy. And what it would be, I haven't decided what format it would take, but it would definitely be some kind of RPG role-playing game where you get to play Denoy, and you got to go through all these adventures, like at the compound where you're hiding from the others. And then, helicopters are constantly crashing all around you. And, of course, the, what is it, the swamp ape? No, what is it called? Is it the swamp ape? It's trying to hunt you down to eat you, And then, of course, you got cops out there. Some friendly and some not. And then you have the Skymen trying to drop eggs on you. So, I was thinking of doing that just for the heck of it. But, that's one of those things that, it'd be fun to write. But because I'm in a situation right now where I'm trying to make money. Money is on my mind right now. And it's not just like money for living. It's money for traveling and being financially able to do what I want to do. Which means I want to travel the world. And, some people say, you're never going to be able to do it, Denoy. Maybe, maybe not. But I know that if I don't attempt to do it, I definitely won't be able to do it. But if I attempt to do it, maybe I can actually do it. And then if we have the YouTube still, you guys can come along with me. Inspirational Nomad says, will you sell that house once you fix it up? Don't know. Planning right now, the plan is to live here for a while at least. Maybe keep it because it's so cheap. It's like, there's something to be said about living in a very cheap house in a poor neighborhood. And that is, it's cheap. The operative word is it's cheap. And several things happen when it's cheap, okay? One, your taxes are low. Two, I got to check, but I think Florida says that if you're a disabled vet, they will lower your taxes, your property taxes. So I'm going to contact the county and say, hey, I'm a disabled vet. That'll reduce the taxes even more. And also because I'm living semi-off-grid, my expenditures for electricity and water will be lower. That means the house is kind of just almost free to live in. Not almost, but close. It's very low cost. The reason that's significant is this. I don't want to be a nomad and live in a van, although some people love that. I want to be able to travel, possibly in a van, maybe in an airplane, maybe on a boat, maybe in a ship, But I'd like to have a place that I can call home base, where when I get tired or whatever, I can just chill, It's paid for, cost of living there is very low, and it's a place to rest. And I want to keep it for that. So I don't know. If I sell it, it potentially could be enough money for my travels. But then I don't have, what happens if I decide I'm tired of traveling? No place to go, and then trying to get another place that could be super expensive or impossible. So one of the things I might try to do is get enough money and then try to get another place, maybe a better one, then decide which one I want to keep. But honestly, now that I've worked on the house and stuff and it's actually coming together, I'm like, it might be worth staying, even though it's not the best neighborhood, it's not the best looking house, but just the fact that I can quit my job see, here's the security of having a place that you own and that is affordable. You don't have to work. In other words, you can just live. Imagine that. You no longer have to work or they'll take away your house. You make enough money without really doing too much, okay? And you have the luxury of living the life that you actually want. A simple life, traveling, having asado every day, whatever. It's a simple life. Maybe I'm not on a big, huge cruise all the time or whatever, but it's okay. I don't need that. I don't want that. Maybe I might go on a cruise, That's one of the things I want to go on. Is I've never been on a cruise, not a real cruise, the casino cruise. Maybe I'll go on a cruise ship somewhere. But having a house to go back to is why I would want a cheap house. If I had an expensive house, I probably couldn't afford the cruise. I couldn't afford to try to travel the world. Having a cheap place means that, you have extra income, disposable income, I guess you can call it. And I feel very blessed that I was able to get into this position, almost accidentally because of COVID. Hidoji says, Sony just got, is it Bungie? Bigger than most people realize. A game that was supposed to be an Apple game became a Microsoft game and will eventually be Sony. Yeah, the big trend now is for the few mega corporations to own everything. And sometimes they'll keep the name of the smaller studio that develops stuff, but it's I don't know what Microsoft's going to do to Blizzard, especially to World of Warcraft. Would be interesting, I'm kind of just watching on the side. I used to subscribe and play on World of Warcraft, the official servers, but then it kind of went downhill after Wrath of the Lich King. That was the last good expansion. Then from that, it went down the tubes. But now I play Wrath of the Lich King on a free server, on a private server, and for me, it's fun. I don't have the pressure of when you have to pay a subscription for something like World of Warcraft did. You feel like you have to go on there all the time and you have to play. But when it's like on a free server, you could go off for a month or two and then come back, or even a year and then come back. It's not an issue. They're not taking your money every month. And for me, being on a private server, I actually play for fun. I don't feel the stress, the pressure of, I paid this money, I have to take advantage of the fact that I paid this money. Yeah, Shlomo Goldstein says, a Darwin Award challenge, getting yourself killed trying to become famous. Well, and then some people became famous, not getting themselves killed, but they did become famous, like, even the Van Dweller. You guys know about Gabby, It's a crazy world where basically, the more outrageous, the more weird, the more unbelievable something is, the more money it makes. And then you get fakers doing all sorts of stuff. You get all sorts of crazy stuff because it's not even driven by sense. It's just driven by clickbait. Even the YouTube videos, you have to sort of be kind of clickbaitish, or your channel gets buried. I've had a lot of people who tune into this channel tell me that the content on here is really good, but YouTube doesn't promote it because it's not clickbaitish. It's kind of boring stuff for clickbaiting. I suppose if I started doing crazy topics and stuff and putting, stuff on it when we're clickbait like, the channel would grow. But then what am I? I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people that are promoting bad stuff. So you got to draw the line, and you got to be true to yourself, I guess, is the thing. Like I was watching, I don't know if it's TikTok. It was TikTok. They were talking about how social media shows things, and they're all like one big fat lie. There was a video segment that showed this young man and this one woman, and they were all happy, in the videos. They're joking and showing how loving they are to each other and how they can tease each other. And, I think they're like in their late 20s or early 30s. Yeah, I think they're like 27, 28 years old, both of them. And then a short time later, you find out that guy that was in the video, he was a popular guy on TikTok. He killed his wife and her friend because I guess his wife and him were having some problems, marital problems, and then he moved out. But they had a daughter together. Before he moved out, he put a spy app on his daughter's tablet, and he would listen in on her, and he heard her giggling with her friend, you know, and then he went over to that house. Evidently, even though he wasn't living there, he had made a copy of the key before he left, and he went into the house and he killed that. They weren't even ex yet. They hadn't divorced yet. He killed his wife and her friend. And now, I guess the trial's going to go soon. He's going to go to jail, and their daughter's not going to have either parent. And he was super popular because in the videos they always show what makes these viral videos, these viral channels popular is they don't show reality. They show like a perfect life. Your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your husband or your wife is perfect. Your van life journey is perfect. You have a really nice, or if it's not perfect, it's ultra dramatic. It's super, super dramatic. And yet you survived, but a lot of it is staged and fake. Like even Mr. Beast, a lot of what he does is kind of, it's the kind of stuff that goes viral, and it's set up to be that way. And that's the problem. One of the problems with stuff like TikTok and YouTube and all these other social media outlets is they promote that kind of behavior. They promote things that get clicks and views, not necessarily things that are good for humanity. Shlomo says, travel is not a thing in COVID times. Well, here's the thing, Shlomo. Travel is definitely not a thing in COVID times, but I suspect that just like one of two things will happen. Either COVID or some variant of it will kill everyone, so we're all doomed. Nice thought, right? Or just like the common cold and everything else, we learn to adapt and deal with it. Now, my hope is that over the course of the next 3 to 5 years, COVID becomes just like the common cold. We've come up with enough immunizations or anything that we need, to combat it and have it under control. Otherwise, life as we know, it's gone. And I don't intend to live that kind of life. I don't intend to live in fear. I still go out to eat. I've been immunized. I still wear my mask. I wear, they say you got to wear the 3-ply one. You can't wear the cloth ones anymore. I wear this, and sometimes on top of it, I put the cloth ones. And you're like, wow, why do you do all that? I do all that to try to play it as safe as possible, given the circumstance. And at the same time, I know it's a risk going out, even shopping. It's a risk going out to eat in a restaurant, but I still do that. And if I get sick from it, I get sick from it. Then I'll try to go and get the treatments, as best as I can. I'm planning on getting the booster shot once I look at the results of what's happened to people who had the 2 Modernas and then what they got afterwards and any side effects. I'm still waiting for data. Basically, the longer I can wait for data, the better I can act upon it. Hey, Van Life Channel, good to see you on here. Here it says having a home base is great, especially for storage. Yeah, the thing is storage, but also, I'm not so sure about storage per se, because what I've learned, well, first off, I lost a bunch of stuff in all the moves into the van and everything else. You saw my RV, how all my stuff got wet and ruined. That was all old family stuff. It's all gone. So at this point right now with this house, I'm hoping not to acquire. One of the problems you have when you get a larger space is you tend to fill it up, and this house is huge compared to what I'm used to. It's like about 624 square feet, and that doesn't include the little shed, and that doesn't include the RV and the land. So, I'm like, there's a lot of stuff I could end up acquiring, but I'm trying not to acquire. I'm trying to go with minimal of what I need and maybe a couple things that I want, luxurious things like the TV. But for the most part, I'm trying not to just get stuff just to get. And if I do travel and decide to build up another van, it's still going to be somewhat minimal. Having the experience that I've had, I will design it to be really simple. Like, I might even design it to be the kind that you can just set up real quick and take out, so the van's normal. Because it's not a full-time living situation anymore. It would be more of a leisure vehicle, so it'd be set up accordingly. Shlomo says there will be modified boosters out soon. I'm waiting for that to be released. Yeah, they're learning more and more, and then some people say, well, I don't want to talk too much about it because YouTube could end up blocking this video again, because they tend to do that on my videos when I start talking about controversial stuff. But, science, you either believe in science or you don't. And if you believe in science, you got to believe that hopefully they can improve. That's the whole point of science. Some people think that science should be able to fix things just right the first time. But even like with SpaceX, you saw the rockets that blew up. They have situations where they try to develop something and it doesn't work, but then they look at it and they can fix it. That's what science and technology is about, is improvement. And I do believe that we're on year 2, going on year 3 here of the COVID situation. Hopefully they continue to better the technology that we need to live with it. And I suspect that it's always going to be there, or some variant, and if not COVID, something else. But hopefully we take the precautions that we can, and they're effective enough. But I refuse to live in fear, in the sense that I refuse to stop living, just be afraid and hide myself in my house all day long. At the same time, I'm not going to be out there in a big crowd with no mask and no vaccination or anything like that. That's just foolhardy, because I guess at my core, I do believe in science and technology. I don't believe that it's hocus pocus. It's science and technology that's driving the information. Inspirational Nomad, thank you. You didn't have to do that, but thank you very much. All right, I'm going to go ahead and sign out. Hopefully I'll be able to work some more in the house. That way we can get more, when we do the update, you guys can see that more work's been done. And if they approve my my workload adjustment soon, then I will be able to work more on the house, so I can dedicate more time to finishing this thing up. And then maybe do some of the more interesting projects like solar, water collection, turning into more of a semi-smart house, semi-automated, and making more money. Not just for me, but for other people, share with you what I'm doing, so that maybe we can get some ideas. I do thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate all of you who click the like button on the videos. They do help the video to go up. I appreciate all of you who make comments on the videos, because apparently the YouTube algorithm sees how many likes there are on a video and how many comments there are, how many interactions, how much of a video somebody watches, like they watch the whole video. Those all help. So I appreciate all of you who are doing that for me. It is greatly appreciated. And if you guys need help with your channels and stuff, just let me know, and we'll send people there to try to boost your numbers up. But honestly, I don't know how much of a boost we can help each other with, because the stuff that really drives the views is if I put up some kind of thumbnail that's really bad or really outrageous, outlandish. That's how you get the views on here. So maybe we'll start doing that as an experiment to see what happens. Anyhow, take care, everyone. God bless you all. Please stay safe. Bye-bye now.